Information travels fast, with the power of the internet giving us the ability to have the world's information at our fingertips. But what happens when false information spreads faster than the truth? During the year of 2020, the COVID-19 virus impacted and changed our way of life, but also created a new normal for our world post-pandemic. As around the world, people were shut inside their homes for months, putting the whole world on lockdown. Social media became increasingly more popular as people were bored and wanted a way to fill their time. Information today is spread through the internet and even social media. At a time during a crisis, influenced many people's consumption of misinformation from sites or social media platforms they trust. During the COVID-19 age, it was easy for people's imaginations to run wild, believing any scenario or possible cause of the virus. There are two types of false information. Disinformation is the spread of false information intentionally in bad faith. Online, there were claims that COVID-19 was a Chinese-made disease, as told by former President Donald Trump. And even some Americans believe that it was the American government who made this disease. As ridiculous as these sound, these falsehoods were believed by many, and they had no reason not to believe, as this information had gone viral to the public, deceiving many. And former Donald Trump, had made many claims that the Asian Americans were the ones who were at fault for the spread of the disease and resulting in hate and discrimination that the Asian Americans received during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Overton window is a political possibility of the range of ideas the public is willing to consider and accept. Politicians mainly use the Overton window to move it in accordance with their policies. But during the COVID-19 pandemic, smashed the window, forcing us to all rethink what we considered normal. As people had to look into a deeper meaning of the decisions politicians made today and realize that we must change to return back to our normal. The Overton window before constrained any big change that politicians try to push. In the article, How Coronavirus Smashed Overton Window, the leopard Giuseppe Tomasi di Lampedusa wrote, "If we want things to stay as they are, things will have to change." After the pandemic, there was a transformation in our government to avoid rising economic issues, as the pandemic had resulted in many loss of jobs since the 2008 recession. Politicians who had ideas to better our economy had the chance once the Overton window was no longer there in their way, allowing these politicians to move forward and transform our government and our country to return to a new normal. During the pandemic, misinformation that was spread through social media and the internet became widely popular. As vaccines had gone viral and became a very hot topic circulating on the internet. Many falsehoods and hearsay that vaccines had caused autism or affected fertility in women. This information was misleading and hid the real facts about how helpful vaccines were. And because of viral deception that consumed the internet, more people saw the disinformation about vaccines instead of the truth, and which believed caused a setback in our country trying to move forward after the pandemic. Misinformation of vaccines negatively impacted parents getting other vaccines for their children, like measles, mumps, and rubella, and other highly contagious life-threatening diseases. According to the National Library of Medicine, the tendency of an increased risk of vaccine-preventable diseases was seen worldwide due to COVID-19. The COVID-19 hesitancy of vaccines resulted in people not going to healthcare facilities and a decrease in regular routine childhood vaccinations because of the spread of misinformation. During the COVID-19 pandemic, I experienced a country that didn't know how to handle our given circumstances. There was a power imbalance between the government and the people, as no one knew how to act anymore in public, as COVID had changed so many things that were normal for us to be widely different. Reflecting on the misinformation that spread during COVID, I saw how damaging it was to our country, to our country's recovery impacted us, and that we weren't able to recover for so long because of the spread of misinformation that people believed and fought vaccines and wearing masks. Because it took a long time for everyone to be vaccinated, something as simple as social media had a direct impact on people and their public opinion. As social media platforms, I believe, pushed this misinformation that hurt us in the long term. But also, the pandemic changed how we all interact with each other and how we go about our new normal to prevent a similar crisis from happening in the future. To conclude, social media platforms are a gateway for misinformation to spread. When misinformation goes viral, spreading on the internet can inherently damage the truth hidden by the spread and ultimately impacted our country's recovery after the pandemic. Also, the overtime